Alright, wastewater needs, anything you think of?
I think they just, well, talk to the city about it, but, you know, they upgraded their septic plant out here, so.
And Millstone is the only other one that has their own wastewater
They
system.
did, but we just had a big grant with them to upgrade fire hydrants, what else was that scope? Fix their wells, do a study of their sewer and their lagoon. I know they have an issue with their lagoon.
Mhm.
And there's also something to
They
do
probably
with-
did a PER for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But they were supposed to, it's like 25 grand to have them run a camera through their sewer system, sewer lines, but then the lagoon was an issue. And then isn't there an issue with some sort of dam behind them, there's a water BLMs, they're storing water behind there, but they can't because it won't hold it or something.
Well, let's see, that's up, Kegi Kugli, I believe, yeah, there's a big dam up there.
That's the reservoir we were talking about this morning, Mike.
Expanded it, yeah.
No, well,
Actually,
it's for the city that, I don't know, we might have to have you get in contact with Millstone.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. Yeah, especially if they did a PER on the wastewater system, we can just take the information from that and put it right in the.
well, and then the other thing that now that I mentioned with Mike is Mike was with the watershed district and they're looking to do off storage
System storage, yeah.
out there, where's that at?
It's on Rosebud County though. It's right on the borderline.
Well, just east of Millstone, yeah. Yeah.
So it's not in Muscle County?
Well, it is tied to Muscle County because part of them would drain back into the Nelson-Delphia Canal system, which a part does go into the lower end of the Muscle County irrigation.
Okay, and I'm just bringing it up because they're doing it because they have to wait too long when they get water from Dead Man. So they're saying, why don't we just divert some of the river water here and have some storage, or maybe it's runoff, I don't know a lot about it other
But
than.
that's, the county's not really, that's an irrigation district thing, right?
It is.
It is kind of an infrastructure deal, but maybe not for the county.
Yeah, it's not something that you would put in a capital
It'd be-
program for,
No,
you wouldn't
no,
provide
you're right.
financial.
No, you're right.
So that might be a growth policy thing, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's just making sure there's water, people have water.
Is the stormwater and roundup, part of your interagency agreement dealing with that issue?
I don't think so.
It may be worth
I think
talking
we
to the
only
city
deal
as
with
part of
them with-
stormwater, because they have a pretty big need for stormwater management. Because historically, the stormwater went into the sewer, and it can't do
Yeah.
that anymore, so
That's right.
they're having to.
I can talk to Sam.
Excellent point. Because that affects how much goes to the lagoon and all that good stuff.
Alright, I think that's my list so far. Anything else you can think of that I didn't ask about?
As soon as you leave, you'll remember something.
Well, you have my email address, so as soon as you think of something, shoot me an email.
It took me forever. I always got the acronym of your company wrong. I'd always say WCC, and everybody goes, WWC, and I'm like, how am I gonna remember that? And then it's like the name is Western Water Concerns.
Yep.
And I got that from your growth policy, RFP requirements. I learned a lot about your company.
Yeah, you did.
And
Well, that's good. That's what that's for.
I was very impressed. I mean, it's like, hey, this is a going outfit that's been going for a long time, so. And you've done several growth policies, capital improvement plans, and so.
Yeah, I've been doing planning stuff for almost 20 years now, so I've been working on growth policies and CIPs, so. I've done a few of them.
Well, it's really special, it's a specialized knowledge, and we think, we're excited about maybe getting the benefit of that.
Yeah, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was just, so the next step is we needed to put out some kind of community survey. And so we're gonna work on, developing a draft survey. And then we'll send it to you guys and we'll have you guys look that over. And if there's anything that you wanna add to it, something you don't think you wanna ask, whatever, you can go, mark it up. And then we'll talk about how we get that kind of distributed to the community once we finalize that. But what we usually do is we usually do a SurveyMonkey link so that we'd like most people to go online and fill it out, because that's easier for us to get the raw data and be able to analyze it via electronic. But we do provide hard copies because older people don't necessarily want to go online and fill out a survey. So, not always. That's just been my
So
experience.
like you have like
You always have
community
an option,
coffees and
that's
stuff, do you have like events where the public can come?
So once we get the survey out there and we have it out there for a few weeks, we'll do a public meeting.
Okay,
And so my thought is we'll do a public meeting here in Roundup, for sure. I don't know, do you guys see a need to do a public meeting in Melstone or Muscle Shell? For any reason, or do you think public meeting here in Roundup? Hopefully, obviously the planning board would hopefully be involved with that public meeting if I can get them rounded
It
up.
may not hurt to have one in Milestone.
They have a Tuesday night, meal there.
So maybe we'll coordinate that and see.
yeah,
But the first step will be getting the survey out, and then we'll coordinate how we want to do public meetings.
okay,
And usually what I like to do is I'll have the public meetings kind of towards the end of that survey so that people can, either get a QR code to fill it out at the public meeting, or we'll give them a hard copy they can take with them. And then the hard copies, we'll just have people drop back off here at the
okay,
clerk and recorder's office, and then they can scan it in and send them to us. And then I usually have our admin staff will enter those hard copy ones into SurveyMonkey,
okay.
so that we have it all compiled electronically at the end. So, and then once we get that process done, then it's just a matter of Greg and I finishing the data,
Excellent.
doing all the research and developing the draft documents. So,
If you need any footwork done, let us know and we'll do the best.
I guarantee you we're gonna have some questions,
will,
especially on the CIP side. I think we'll definitely have some stuff for you. The growth policy side, this was a great start. We'll get a lot of information from the previous growth policy too, and then our own research on current demographics and stuff like that. I think we've had a lot of discussions between the four of us over the last few
Right.
years about what you guys feel you need, and I think I've got a pretty good handle on that, so.
And you'll get good
Yeah.
input from these department heads too,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, so,
Teresa, by the way, has tremendous knowledge about it.
Yes, she does. You're sitting right next to a huge resource.
Hi,
Let me
I'm not that
rephrase
huge.
that. Damn.
Morbidly obese.
a resource with a wealth of knowledge.
There you go.
Well, I was gonna offer that, so I'm a co-chair of Roundup Community Partners. We're a volunteer group that's dedicated to the intentional redevelopment of Main Street. And we do host community coffees, and we have a Facebook page that's really active that we could share the survey
Perfect.
on. We've done that with the city's growth policies in the past with the counties. So,
Can you send me your information?
absolutely, I'll give you a card.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we could, if y'all want to, we can do a community coffee like we did for the city's growth policy, and
Yeah,
And we put it
Like
on
I said,
Facebook.
Greg can come up, he's right in Billings, so
We'll let
if
him
it's something
conduct
like
the
a
meeting.
quick meeting like that, I'll probably have him come up and do that and get input that way, so. Alright, well, I think that's all I got.
Appreciate it, sounds like a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was a great discussion, good kickoff.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
you're the one that started the Bear Collins project for us. We call it the Roundup Reach project at the time, because I have your card. You started that initial conversation out when we were freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, that's gotten going again. That's exciting. Purple.
Alright,
All right, just
Anything else?
because I saw you get the card out, I always like to take the opportunity to get my card out.
Oh, boy.
Makes me feel important.
I already have.
You know how to get a hold
I
of
already
me.
have your stuff.
I don't think I
I'll
ever
take
did.
another.
I don't think I
another.
could have given you a card.
I don't know if I have one or not. I just
It'll be
know,
worth money one
I
day,
just know
man.
where to find you.
You know how to get a hold of me, but that card will be worth money, so. Sure.
Whatever you say.
Collector's item.
All right, well, we'll get out of your hair. Let's keep going.
Appreciate it, it's good to see you.
So, good to see you.
You betcha.
Good to see you, Mike.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Drive safe, have fun.
Good to see you. Yeah.
I'm Ben Kenny.
Yeah, we saw him.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
I saw you on the TV meeting a couple weeks ago. If you have any more questions, you talked about having some questions.
Obstacle course around.
Yeah, so I actually spent all day yesterday kind of researching stuff and looking into stuff, and so I do. Do you have one of your, can I grab one of your cards from you? I don't have one of my cards here, they're all buried away downstairs. Thank you.
Yeah, just get a hold of me, we can chat.
Because, yeah, we've got a couple issues brewing right now, I think two of them, actually.
Okay.
So,
All right,
All right,
sounds
thank
good.
you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank
Good
you.
day.
You too. All right.
I like them a lot.
He's taking us out to some very nice dinners at these meetings.
That's another good feature about WWC.
I do like them. I haven't got to work with them professionally, but I do like them. They do good work. Okay, can I get started?
You certainly
You
can.
certainly can.
Okay, if I repeated anything that I've emailed, just, I'll go fast. John Minock's working on the alley dirt work. He went to Billings, I guess yesterday or today to get some supplies, and he's gonna get it finished tomorrow.
Okay.
Monday, we have a meeting. John's gonna come to a meeting with me with the soil engineer that you signed the Rimrock Engineering. They're gonna do the soil sampling, and we should have the results back in 2 days.
Okay.
So that'll help finish the shoring, design and planning. And then also on Monday, John and I are gonna work on a schedule, cause we finally got the schedule. I think, you two have replied to me, from our QEP for hazardous material cleanup. So at least we know when we're gonna start. We don't know how long the phases are gonna take, but we know what the phases are now. And so John is gonna work with me Monday to try and put a whole, schedule together, so we have some kind of timeline that we can try and keep everybody to. But they said the cleanup could take as much as 4 months for the entire building, but what we've done is, the way we've organized the cleanup in the different phases, John's gonna be able to get in there and keep working, except for maybe on a peak, like here, they're gonna have that old office they're gonna demo. He may not be able to get into that space, but he could be upstairs or downstairs or on the first floor to the south if he needs to be there. So hopefully we don't we're trying to design it so we don't kick our contractor off site and we don't kick our abatement team off site. They can just keep working
So
through.
they're phasing, in theory, so they're kind of working in parallel in different areas, but you know that the abatement might be 4 months. The wild card is how much time to put for the structural repair.
Yeah.
So and in my mind, we'll see how you wind up, but we're looking maybe early fall or fall that you could actually, and then also you gotta look at your procurement line with your developer. So, I know you know all this, but I'm gonna share with you, I told you I looked at your milestones and how they're all, I'll send you, it's Visio, I've at least captured everything you sent out as your milestones.
Oh, good, okay.
And it's, them like the back of your hand, but it does show there's this big cluster of activity that's like, good God.
I know we're like in it. I feel like I feel like my activity, I'm in it, because there's just all the different paths are moving forward all at the same time and need attention immediately. It's pretty intense. On the design front, we're doing weekly Wednesday 8:30 meetings to keep them on task. That was in John's contract with the High Plains, and so we got that scheduled like before this contract got signed, and we're just keeping to that, so we keep pressing forward. And if we're done with shoring, we're just gonna move into roof design and get them our
Excellent.
destructive assessment, so that's happening. So this week's shoring meeting, what I heard from Emory, so High Plains, is that we may have to have 2 different building permits, one for shoring and one for the roof work, because they're different, then we can move the shoring building permit quicker.
Okay,
And so she feels like they'll have the final permit set done Friday, the 8th, a week from today. And I've been working on the building permit application. Do have to have a general quote for what the shoring's gonna cost us. But I'm gonna work with John on that on Monday, if he can just give us a ballpark, because that's
Okay.
what that's how you pay for your building permit, is based
based
off
on
of.
dollars.
Mhm. So hopefully Friday, as soon as they get me that building permit, or the shoring permit set, so the design of the shoring, the final design, then I can just click send and put in our
Okay.
building permit.
Is the county gonna have to write a check for that permit?
We will.
Okay, so you'll maybe have to create a claim, you know, but anyway, you're familiar with how that works.
Right, I don't know, I think before they'll issue, you have to initiate the application, and then it has to get into evaluation mode before they'll issue an invoice
Okay,
for payment.
very good.
But they'll let you pay with credit card too. I mean, I ended up, when we did the Welcome Plaza project, I like paid for it and got reimbursed because that was the quickest way. And I didn't wanna hold up the building permit. So if that ends up being the option, is that an option with the county?
It is, but I think that with us signing claims every week,
Be better to
it'll
do.
time out to where here, you know, put it in this claim cycle and they'll get a check on Friday. I mean, you know, that's pretty much how it works, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we'll just mail it.
Yeah,
Okay. So I don't know, but that's what it sounds like with permits. I'm gonna get, really, I have a call into the building codes people about more details on
related to
it.
the permit as terms of scheduling though, you think it's gonna be like 3 or 4 weeks once the permit, before John can't start without a permit and without the abatement being cleaned. If the permit's 4 weeks, but the abatement team isn't even gonna get there till the 5th, I get to start. Well, he won't even be able to get in there till the 19th of May.
Well, the 5th, they can start doing loose removal.
Yeah,
No,
but that's the abatement team. Do
right,
you need a permit for the abatement team?
no,
So it's really John, so if John doesn't start till the 19th of May, I'm just got that locked in my head, then between now and then, it's likely we'll at least have a shoring permit, right? Okay, so that won't be a critical path item. It could be if we don't keep it moving, but, you're pretty good at keeping things moving, so. I'm not
Well,
worried
I'm
about
trying to, and I'm glad you guys gave me permission to do the building permit, because that's the piece that if it got left in somebody else's hands and, you know, if High Plains did the building permit, set the designs, and then it sat on their desk for a couple of days or a week before they submitted the building permit, that would delay us. So I'm just gonna be ready as soon as she sends it to me and says it's final to
When you-
click send.
The other kind of oddity about that, maybe you're gonna get to it, I'm just remembering all this stuff, I haven't been thinking about any of this stuff, I've been focused on some, is temporary power and water.
So I did call, I've initiated, I put in it's not a new service request, it's a, construction service request to Northwestern Energy. I spoke to we have a local fella who's retired, Sheldon, I don't know his last name, but he helped me with the Welcome Plaza project, and he is
You
so.
know
I think so, yeah. Anyway, he said this how he helped me get started, and he actually cleaned up the Welcome Plaza a lot for us for free. Just took down poles and random stuff. But he said, okay, this is the quickest way to get, your request in, and this is the information you need to include. So I submitted that to Northwest Energy Tuesday, I think.
Okay,
So hopefully we'll have electric at a pole with some outlets for I don't know, that's the request I put in. So
Yep,
the
yep.
engineers will call us back. So I sort of put the girls on notice to say, hey, if they call you and said there's a new service request, just send them to me. And then I have a call into the city office about water.
Okay,
And what may be easier for us to do is just get the water hooked up at, I'm gonna ask Lauren, but you know, Bannister said that, well, he has water on his one lot there to the north.
okay,
So if we're gonna buy that, then that may be the easiest place for them to get water.
okay,
Because the water for, Weir is from the street. But I've initiated that, so,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And I know that's a lot of work too, though, but that'll make sure that nobody's hung up, both of those things won't be delay items.
and hopefully by the time our hazmat people get in there, they'll have that. If they need it for a cleaning station or whatever,
Yeah.
they'll have both of those active. But you guys are okay with me activating an electric line for the county? Okay. And then fencing, I've contacted the Department of Transportation just to get their guidance. The city just said, do whatever MDOT says.
Okay,
So-
this is for the front of the building.
For the front of the building, and so if they say take up the whole sidewalk or don't take up our part of the sidewalk, we'll be able to tell John what MDT says. And then I have put in a call, so, the Bannisters with the vacant lots, he asked me to go talk to his realtor, and so I put in a call to her, that may have just been yesterday or Wednesday, but I haven't heard back from her. So
Did we
he-
decide we were leaning towards buying them, but we wanted to wait till we got the bids from the abatement?
Well, what I walked away from last week's meeting with was, to ask them
Where are we gonna put
if we
money
do
down?
$1,000
Non-refundable.
earnest money, it's non-refundable,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
try and close at the end of May. So,
Beautiful, yeah.
he just emailed me out of the blue and said, hey, if you're gonna make an offer, talk to our realtor directly, so that she can do whatever, so. I haven't heard back from her, but I got that ball rolling.
Mike, that's a great idea. Put the earnest money down, now you're,
So hopefully she'll take us up on that, but I'll do my best to sell that. Snowy Mountain, so the cleanup, I talked to you guys about the phasing of the cleanup last week, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Okay, I don't wanna repeat. And then, clear out, hopefully, and we got Snowy Mountain poised to approve the proposals, whichever one they select, they're gonna grade them and they get them back on the 23rd. We have our walkthrough next week on the 15th, but he's only given them a week to do proposals after the walkthrough. So then when we get those back, he said it really depends on Snowy Mountain and how long they take to get things done. But luckily, Snowy Mountain said, Teresa, I'll have it done within a week, so.
I saw her email the ABC and all those other things that needed to be
Right,
done are in play and are behind us. Yeah, I was thinking about the actual bids. When is he putting out, remember he was working on detailed drawings?
he sent, did
So
he?
that
I thought he copied
He did,
Did he
I'm just
copy
trying to
you?
remember, but,
Yeah, he just sent
so
them
I'm just wondering
today.
if they're working on their bids right now, if there's been an RFP put out for them to bid.
They announced, so evidently their announcement process is different. They just send an email to all the eligible, abatement contractors in the area, cause he copied me on like 8 or 10 emails where he sent it directly to the abatement contract businesses. So I guess you have to be certified so he knows who they are, so instead of listing it, he just emails the RFQ. And all he did was announce the walkthrough and the proposal due date, and he did that on the 8th. And then he said he's gonna, we just got the bid specs today in an email, and he asked us to review it before Monday. And it's like a 160-page document, so I'm like, okay. Luckily, that's on Snowy Mountain, but I am gonna look through it just to be sure the phasing is correct.
Okay,
But I'm gonna be there at the walkthrough, because I really wanna be sure that that gets communicated, because it's so critical to our project. But what it means is, if Snowy Mountain approves it before the end of the month, they could actually be going in there and cleaning out debris like the next Monday, the 5th, which would have him on his original schedule, which is pretty, hats off
Yeah,
to him.
that would be great. I was just curious because, you know, like they're gonna have a walkthrough, the bids are due the 23rd. But really, how soon they get those documents that will help them with their bid, you know, so. But if he does the documents, like you said, it should lend extreme clarity. So I'm with you, Elwood.
And so those documents he has the images of where everything is, and, so, did you get them?
Well,
Did you get
no,
an
I
email
can't
from him?
find it. I did get them, but
It
I
should have
didn't.
been
I did-
today.
it was from Roger, right?
Yeah. I thought I saw it, he
I
copied
looked at
them,
them,
that's why
I looked at them, but I didn't save them to my, okay, here they
I wanna be sure you got a
are.
copy
Yeah,
of it.
it's, I'm looking right at it. It's the project manual for the weir building asbestos, and it's several pages.
It's the ACMLBP full specs. And he sent it, he sent it to everybody this morning at 9:59. No, yesterday morning, so Thursday. So, he'll finalize, so evidently Stony Mountain has to at least look at it, but I'd say he's gonna send it out to everybody Monday.
Good.
Because one of his guys asked for the manual today in an email. So we could be clearing out, or you could see somebody down there clearing out. That's pretty soon. I mean, it's almost,
Yeah, it is very soon.
it's not what we wanted, but it's still happening. I'll let you know about the vacant lots. Any other questions about hazmat cleanup? Were you done with that part?
I think so.
I got an email from the Department of Commerce. They've announced a new grant for economic development for communities. And I haven't looked at it at all, but that's not true. I looked at just who's eligible and what type of projects they fund. So like I spent 10 minutes on it. But I think I'm gonna call the OC and see if our project's eligible, because it's a pretty quick turnaround. And it could mean some money for us. Cause I did follow up with Main Street, and they don't have any unused funds quite yet, but both her and her supervisor are keeping an eye out. If somebody returns some funds, she said we'd be top on the list.
That's what we want, is unused funds.
Yes. So if, we're on the list there, but if you guys want me to pursue another grant, there may be that new grant option. I mean, they just announced it
Please.
2 days ago. You want me
No, we don't need more money.
to- Yeah.
No, that's good news.